Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. This is episode 5 of the Gulf Coast Gearheads podcast with your hosts, Jacob and...
Josh, right over here, killing it for you guys.
So what we're going to do today is talk about, we've been posting some of these articles on our social media recently, some
Right.
vehicles that are coming up and out here in the next couple of years or so, maybe even later this year. Some of them were supposed to be out already, but they're kind of expecting some delays on it, which is typical of manufacturers. So without further ado, we're going to head and segment in right off the bat and start with the new generation of the Volkswagen Golf R.
Yes. Now, this is all straight rumors. There's been some images and stuff from Europe, but the biggest things that people have noticed that might be true is the fact that they canceled the Golf R after the model year of 2018. And so now going into 2021, they're talking about releasing the new and improved version. And this is also another rumor of the entire Golf model line, that they're removing the Golf, the basic Golf, and just making the GTI the base level, which is pretty cool in my opinion, but also improving the power rankings of all of them. They're talking about the Golf R, which I'm most excited about, is having about 330 horsepower, and that's an upgrade from the previous generation having about 292 horsepower. So an improvement of about 40 horsepower. I mean, even the torque, I think, is pushing about 320, 310. You might have to fact check me on that, but I think it's looking really solid. The lines are getting a little more aggressive, and it's just a great improvement for the Golf R in general. Also, another rumor that the cost of ownership to buy one at the dealership is going to go down a little bit with the fact that they're removing the base Golf and starting off with the GTI. So with the GTI starting at about 28,000 and the Golf R at 41,000, you might see these shift down to about 24 and 36. Don't count me on that. That's just the things that I'm hopeful for, but that's what the rumors are right now.
Yeah, pretty exciting stuff, especially if you're a hot hatch fan. And if this is not the number one, it is definitely one of the top hot hatches
Ever.
ever. For consumers. I'm sure there's a lot of rally car enthusiasts out there who will tell you something different, but for people
Right.
buying and driving these on the street, it's definitely one of the ones that hot hatch people would love to own if they don't.
Oh, yeah.
So then the next vehicle we have is the 2020 Ford Bronco. Is taking, quite a long hiatus for this one. We haven't seen it in years, I guess, since like the 90s. But what we've seen so far with this, it's definitely a very modern looking SUV, if you will. I mean, it doesn't seem Bronco-ish, because if you take like the 90s Bronco, it's very like rough and tough looking and off-roading machine, and this just looks like an updated futuristic looking brother to it. And I kind of like the look of it. I've seen some pictures of a 4-door and even maybe a 2-door one. I don't know how well the 2-door will sell compared to the 4-door, because just talking mass market wise, the market's going to want the larger SUV, because that's where the market's tending towards. For the Bronco and the off-roading enthusiasts, of course, the 2-door, in my opinion as well, too, the 2-door one would be awesome to have. But I just don't know if they're going to sell enough to justify it if they do make the 2-door one.
And I wonder how much of all of the saga with past crime records and it being the famous white Bronco, if that had any effect of how long the hiatus was. But I think their new tagline should be, if the gloves do fit, then you should drive it.
I see what you did there. I mean, they will say there's no such thing as like a bad publicity, but I don't know in that situation.
Just kidding. But yeah, it's very exciting to see this new Bronco. I personally like it.
Yeah, it's pretty sweet looking. In terms of powertrain, what people have been saying is they're not sure if it's going to get I mean, it might change by the time we upload this episode if it hasn't already, but people have been saying it might get the 2.3-liter EcoBoost that the Ranger has in it, the new Ranger, or maybe even the 2.7 EcoBoost that the Edge ST has.
Nice.
But either way, it's most likely going to be an EcoBoost engine. I don't really see Ford putting a V8 in this, in terms of, like we were just talking about, the market when they're buying SUVs. They want something that's going to be reliable, gets better gas mileage, and can carry everything that they're going to want to carry. So it's probably going to end up being an EcoBoost engine.
And I'd see it compared to probably in future terms to like how the Honda Passport came out and even the Toyota 4Runner. Very
Mhm.
similar market. So expect the prices to be about that. I think the coolest point of the Bronco coming up is just the colors as well. Very
Yeah.
exciting stuff for Ford. And we're also transitioning even to more Ford is right now their Mach-E that they just came out with. I don't refer to it as the Mustang Mach-E, but the
Yeah.
Mach-E itself. So like the electric SUV version of what Ford is making now. It's a brand new model to their line. Really exciting. Ford being around almost 100 years. We're looking at something that hopefully will compete pretty well in the market when it comes to specifically electric SUVs like the Tesla Model X, and Tesla recently starting to come out with the Model Y. So a lot of exciting things going on in the electric SUV market. I don't think they've released prices full blown yet. I know that all pre-orders, all of it has been sold out
Yeah.
pretty much all the way until the end of 2020. So that's cool too. They haven't exactly come out yet, but I know that all pre-orders have been sold.
Yeah. If you were thinking about reserving your Mach-E while under quarantine, you might be a little too late at this point.
Definitely still good stuff on the internet to learn about them.
Yeah.
Go and learn about them. I mean, this electric cars, in my opinion, if you look at electric cars, you can look at BMW, any of these brands that make electric cars. For some reason, they make the interior quality a little more modern, which I think is cool. And there's also been a rumor that they're going to have a studio improved sound of exhaust happening, even though the car doesn't make any noise itself. So there's
Yeah.
some fun to that. So if
An
you're revving
i8.
the engine, you can hear something in the inside of the car, but nobody else around you's going to hear it. So
Yeah. Yeah, I'm kind of indifferent about this one. When we saw it at the Houston Auto Show in
right,
person, I thought it looked way better than in the pictures because the pictures
yeah,
didn't really do it justice. I like the idea of an electric SUV and keep talking about the market. That's probably eventually, most
where it'll
definitely, where the
be.
market's going to end up is electric vehicles at some point. But I don't like the name
Yeah,
Mustang Mach-E. I think what they were trying to do was get instant name recognition off of it, and people, which obviously it worked because all the reservations for it, they're gone. Everybody's reserved the amount of vehicles that they were going to make for this year. Um, I'm just one of those who I just don't like the name of Mach-E, Mach Electric, because how we're going to segment into that is the rumored Mustang Mach 1, which if
yeah,
you don't know anything about the Mach 1, I'm going to educate you here a little bit, which is why Jacob doesn't like
edumacate.
Edumacate, which is why
Yeah,
Jacob doesn't like the Mach-E name. So the Mach 1 Mustang originated in the early 70s, and it basically a 351 Windsor engine, which is, to convert that from cubic inches to liters, it's about like a 5.8, so even bigger than what the 5.0 Mustang GTs have now. So this was, back then, 60s, 70s, big block V8s was the muscle car name to the game. And we'll put some pictures of it so you can kind of see all of these vehicles and the differences between the generations of the Mach 1. But so that was the first really generation of the Mach 1. Then they brought it back in 2003 and 2004, which is basically a step up from the GT, but not all the way to the full-blown Cobra. It was kind of like a stepping stone in between the two models. The GT was a 4.6 liter V8, naturally aspirated. It had 16 valves, so one valve letting fuel into the cylinder and one valve letting the exhaust escape. So that's how the 16 valves comes out to two per cylinder. With the Mach 1, it was the same size engine, but it was a 32 valve. So two valves letting fuel in and two valves letting exhaust gases out. So it creates more power. You're burning more fuel, which makes it a little bit more faster. Then when you get up to the Cobra, they put a supercharger on top of it. Long story short, there's a lot more detailed differences between the engines, but that's what makes the Mach 1 the stepping stone in the early 2000s for those Mustang models. So now we see a lot of rumors of Ford possibly bringing the Mach 1 back in 2021, 22, somewhere around there. Our people are also predicting that it will be a step up in terms of performance. We really don't know any solid facts right now. What we had found was on the website for Motor One. Yeah, that's where we pulled it from. Somebody on a Mustang forum had posted some leaked photo of like a VIN breakdown for like vehicle identification number, and they did some math with it or whatever, trying to figure out that, oh, I think this VIN number is going to be a Mach 1. And there's even a photo of basically it looks like, yeah, supposedly it's a Mustang Bullet, a 2019 one that we talked about a couple episodes ago, but with camouflage on it, and people think that this is the Mach 1 driving around on the street. But that's about all which we'll add up here on the screen, but that's really all we know about it. But really the reason why I don't like the Mach-E name is because the Mach 1 was always a big, beefy V8 American muscle car, and then we turned the Mustang Mach-E into an electric SUV. So a complete opposite side of the spectrum. I like the idea of the Mach-E. I just wish we would change the name. It's a different vehicle. Call it something different. That's just my opinion on it.
It's not up to us. Ford made the decision, so we'll see. Hopefully, with their electric cars, they make different names and make sure they get a little more creative. But whatever.
It appears to be working out for him so far. So I might look like the dummy right now, but who knows? Anyways, but that's what we have coming up with some vehicles. We posted some of these on the social media, so you can go read more about it. But these are some vehicles that we've seen recently that we're pretty excited to see come out in the next couple of years or couple of months, hopefully.
Right.
But yeah, so that'll pretty much wrap us up for this episode.
Yeah, so guys out there and girls, whoever's listening, we appreciate your input. If there's, we research a lot into the car industry and try to give you guys the up-to-date stuff that's really interesting that we find, as well as important things to know. But if you guys have anything that you feel like we're not covering, go ahead and let us know in the comment section below, as well as subscribe and let us know on all of our social media, anywhere you can find us, what you think we should be covering, or if you have any issues. I mean, we're not perfect. I mean, maybe that guy is worse than me, but let us know what we can improve on. But outside of that, we really appreciate the support. That's Gulf Coast Gearheads with me, Josh, and Jacob, who's signing off for you guys.
Appreciate y'all.